I'll tell you about an instance that happened when I was, before I became an adult. I was doing something I shouldn't have been with a friend of mine. Uh, before they had, this was before they had CDs, I believe. Anyway, we were trying to take some radios out of some old buses or something stupid we were going to sell, even though we didn't have a buyer. So of course we got caught, and during the questioning, everything came out. I got sentenced as a YO for, I think it was 3 months. I ended up doing just maybe 6 or 8 weeks altogether because of some dead time that I did because of the way things turned out. So initially I was sentenced to go, before I get into that, this happened in Smith Falls. So I was sentenced to go to Rockland. Was it Rockland? Yeah, Rockland, to a halfway house. And shortly after I got there, it was obvious that the kids that were there were actual troublemakers. I was someone that, didn't really fit into that scene. You want to call them karmics or whatever. They were really, really some troubled youth. And the other thing about that place is it was very much the youth versus the staff, which is, can be the case in these types of environments. So anyways, I think I was there maybe a week overall, and came the night for the kids to do supper. So they were making pea soup. So I didn't partake, but they all peed in the soup, and they served it, and the staff ate it, and I knew it at the time, but I didn't say anything. So I went to the counselor who was on duty when I decided I was going to try and take off. And I went to him and I asked him, if I decide to leave, is there anything you can do to stop me? He said, no, there isn't, but I wish you wouldn't, because it'll be a lot of paperwork. And I thought, fuck your paperwork. I went back to my room. I threw 10 layers of clothes on because it was winter time. Anything else that was there that was mine, I left behind, and I left. I walked out to an on-ramp, or I was on this old black highway in the middle of the night. Like I said, it was winter time, but I had 10 sets of clothes on and this big overcoat. So it was like 2 in the morning at one point, and I just fell asleep. Or no, it was probably around 11 or something, right? When I fell asleep, I just lay down in a snowbank on the side of the road because there was no traffic around, right? So around 2 in the morning, this car pulls up, and I hear somebody like, hey buddy, are you alive? I'm like, yeah, I'm alive, and I'm trying to get to Smith Falls. So they took me to Brockville. 3 guys that were drinking, right? They dropped me off in Brockville. It was coming around 5 o'clock by the time I walked from where they dropped me off to the other edge of town where I could catch a ride to Smith Falls. I got back to Smith Falls, and the guy picked me up again, dropped me off right across from the cop shop, which was kind of funny. I walked to my friend's house and woke him up. It was still early. He sent me to a taxi stand, which was the cheapest place in town where you can get smokes. I go to the taxi stand and I get smokes. I come out and I open the pack, and I think I just lit a cigarette. And who's outside the taxi stand? Same cop that took me to the halfway house a week ago. So he's like, hey Shiloh, you're not supposed to be out yet, are you? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, they changed their mind. Well, he picked me up, and I was sitting in a holding cell all weekend to go see a judge on Monday, so I go see a judge. The judge sentenced me back to the same damn place. Can you believe it? minute. So the judge sentenced me back to Rockland, and I told him I didn't ask for permission to speak. I said, with all due respect, you send me back there, I'm going to AWOL again. The judge looked at me and thought about it, and he changed my sentence to a different halfway house, which was in Britannia. And I get to the Britannia halfway house, but you see what happened there, right? The judge sentenced me, and I changed my sentence just by speaking, because I would have left again. If he sent me back there, I wouldn't even stayed probably the first night. I probably would have just left. Like, I don't even know how old I was. They were like trying to teach me something, but I was trying to teach them something at the same time, right? Anyway, I can see at this other halfway house that the staff actually cares about the kids. I mean, I can just tell. And there's still this enmity between the kids and the staff. I mean, it's pretty much par for the course most of the time, unless there's some active community involvement. Of course, there's a noise assignment here now. This guy at the halfway house, his name was Darren. He was 7 feet 2 inches tall. You know the maximum height thing to go into a McDonald's? You'd actually have to duck to go underneath that bar. Anyway, over the course of the first couple of weeks I was there, I could tell things were a lot more mellow. We were still, you know, being punished or whatever, but it wasn't like it was. And Darren ended up doing some repairs in the basement that required, like, basically some drywall repair and some painting and some, you know, replace baseboards or whatever. So somehow over the course of that period of time, me and some other guys got involved in helping him with that, which formed a bond, and then next thing you know, like, the whole atmosphere changed. And the guys that were once enemies were looking eye to eye, you know, from opposite sides of the fence. And ended up that Darren took the guys to where he'd go work out at the gym once a week or something like that. It was pretty nice. It couldn't have happened unless everyone was willing to make it happen, right? Blessings, everyone.